The world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham.
Jay is not you.
Jay showing you how to find more money. He's making it rain.
This is a man that you cannot afford to be without.
1-800-88-12345. This is the ultimate entrepreneur with Jay Abraham.
Hi, it's Paul Durante. Today's show, Tony Robbins, global icon, one of the top business intellectuals in the world.
There's two jobs, really, two basic jobs that everybody has in business. Business is really innovation and marketing. Your job is to make sure you find a way to innovate. You find a way to do more for others than anybody else is doing in a new way. And marketing, if you're getting beat in the marketplace as an entrepreneur, it's because you're either not innovating or you're not really mastering marketing.
Tony Robbins and Jay Abraham on a free podcast. Call us right now, 1-800-88-12345. It's the ultimate entrepreneur hotline by dial 800. Get more calls, more sales, more response. With a custom memorable number just like ours, visit dial800.com.
Tony, hello.
Hi, how are you, Jay?
Tony, I'm always great when you're here. You know that. You're my hero. I've enjoyed you and your accomplishments for so many years. The name of the show is The Ultimate Entrepreneur. I've watched you repilot, redirect, resuscitate, inspire so many people to great entrepreneurial achievement. Tell me from your vantage point, what makes the ultimate entrepreneur?
Well, it's interesting. You're asking me a question. I have a different question that I'd like to answer, which is, who needs to be an entrepreneur today? Because today, I don't care whether you're the Fortune 500 CEO or whether you're somebody that right now is at a job where you're fully employed, but you're a bit concerned about what's happening in the economy, or whether you're one of the 15 million people that are unemployed. I think we've seen a change from a world where people were directed as to what to do and where people did not have to have high levels of knowledge or high levels of skill or really make tough decisions, into a world today where everyone has to be entrepreneurial, at least in the company you work for or in what you're going to create for yourself. The economy demands that. We've seen a paradigm shift that's happened in our society that is as large as what happened when, farming, the whole country used to be farmers, and we shifted from that to an industrial age. Today, the percentage of the population that's farmers is ridiculous. It's 3 or 4% now.
Yes.
We are at 95%. Those jobs aren't coming back. Those opportunities aren't coming back. Now, being an outstanding or extraordinary, a magnificent entrepreneur really means being incredibly resourceful. It's someone whose entire focus in life is, how do I add more value? Because the only way you compete, the only way you succeed in competing, the only way you develop a brand, the only way you dominate an industry is to find a way to add more value for other people's lives than anybody else is adding. And it's ironic, sometimes I think that adding value is not because you have this brilliant new technology or tool. If you take a look at what turned around Apple in 1997 when Steve Jobs takes back over, and here's this company literally at the edge, at the brink of bankruptcy, his big breakthrough that he brought back, because they had little money, he went and made a deal with the enemy, with Microsoft, to get a little bit of cash, but the only thing he really did is his big breakthrough was a pink computer, pink, green, red, candy apple, if you recall. The technology was not a breakthrough at that time. It was the color. I remember at the time a friend of mine saying, my grandmother wants a computer. And I said, what kind of computer? And he said, I asked her the same thing, and she said, a pink one. So entrepreneurship is finding a way to add value. Sometimes that's convenient. Sometimes that's better price. Sometimes that's extraordinary, beyond imagination service, not just good service. Everybody says they give great service. Sometimes that's being able to give somebody an identity. I mean, Louis Vuitton sells, a $5,000 purse that costs $40 to make, and someone else is buying a $300 or a $30 purse. It's all about giving them an identity. So an entrepreneur has enough creativity to say, who is my ultimate customer? What do they really want and need? And how do I blow them away with more than they could ever imagine so that I develop a raving fan? And that's what an ultimate entrepreneur is, somebody who creates a raving fan, customers and clients. Customers go away, clients stay, but also somebody who creates a raving fan culture. Because unless you develop a culture, an environment around you, whether you're an army of 2 or 200,000 in your company, you have to create an environment. Otherwise, you become that business operator, not an entrepreneur. And you always know a business operator, Jay. You and I both see them all the time. They're always exhausted and beat up. And even if business is good, they're beat up because they're doing everything themselves. So developing that culture is critical to someone being an ultimate entrepreneur. Again, that's whether you're heading up a huge company or it's you and a few people.
Great answer. Now I'm going to challenge it. So intellectually, I get it. transactionally, what do I have to do different, 1, 2, 3, 4, or at least in the macro sense?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is decide what business you're in. You're already in a business, and then ask what business you're really in. I mean, I give you an example. The economy is extremely tough right now, obviously, for a lot of people. And then, I was talking to a gentleman at one of my events the other day, and he was saying, business I'm in the organic letterbox marketing business. I asked the audience, I said, who here is interested in doing business with this guy? And, nobody raises their hand, right? So I said, explain to me. I was in Australia. And he said, I use organic materials, and we develop marketing materials on organic paper that we send to the letterbox being direct mail there. And I said, how many are interested in doing business with them now? Maybe 2 hands raised their hand. So I said, tell me about an example where you really, truly were able to deliver enormous value to your client. You're proud of it. So then maybe I can find out what business you're really in. Because the business you're in, the way you're describing it, does not inspire you. It does not inspire people, I can promise you. And it sure as hell doesn't inspire anybody here to want to do business with you. The first key to being an entrepreneur is you've got to be able to communicate what it is you have in a way that makes people want to do business with you. That's the first step after you figured out what you're going to do and after you've put a basic structure together. And so he described the situation. He said he took this Chinese restaurant that was a third full and was losing money like crazy, and his family was advertising every week, and he came up with this creative idea where they created these organic chopsticks. And he put together this little special where you came in with the chopsticks and you had a free, one person, you brought in the second person for a free meal. And they were filled up completely, and now they advertise only twice a year, and they do the chopsticks piece, and now it's a huge piece. Did you bring your chopsticks? Everybody teases about it. It's part of the brand of the place, and they're sold out. And he said, I'm so proud of that. I said, listen, then here's the business I think you're in. You're in the business of helping businesses make more money. I said, how many businesses in this room are interested now? Almost every business in the room is raising their hands. So I think entrepreneurs have got to understand that there's 2 jobs, really, 2 basic jobs that everybody has in business. You look around, Deming taught this, anybody that you look at who understands it, and that is business is really innovation and marketing. Your job is to make sure you find a way to innovate. You find a way to do more for others than anybody else is doing in a new way. It can't be like, a woman with a man. Most men think, well, she's happy, I'll just do that again, and I'll do that again. And women don't want to just be happy. They want to be happy in a new way. They want you to please them in a new way. And marketing, if you're getting beat in the marketplace as an entrepreneur, it's because you're either not innovating or you're not really mastering marketing. Marketing is enticing people, getting people to want to come to do business with you. And today the challenge is, what used to take an average of 4 exposures where somebody watched ads, and on average it would take 4 for people to start a buying behavior. That was 15 years ago. Today it's 16 exposures. Well, today you can't afford, most people, to spend that kind of money for that little return. So you have to find a way to stand out from all the rest. And that process starts with knowing who you really are, what your business really is. And then I say the next question is, who is your client today and who does your client need to be? There are businesses out there that the business has changed. Their client has changed. The client is in a different stage of life. You have baby boomers, the largest segment of this society, where you've got 10,000 of them turning 65 every 30 seconds. I mean, it's mind-boggling the change, and you see it in the economy. It isn't just we went through this big blow-up of credit. That's a huge piece. But the other part is you have the largest group of people in society that are now stepping into a stage where they start to save money, not spend. So if they're going to spend that money, you're going to have to entice them at a whole different level. Maybe you have to get a new customer. Harley-Davidson is a perfect example of this. If you were with Harley-Davidson and you watched them go through this explosion over the last, the late 80s to early 2000s were a 20-year run for them. Well, it was a generation that bought that. If you look at their demographics, who buys a Harley-Davidson is somebody 40 to 50 years old, 35 to 50 years old. Well, the largest segment of those people in the history of the world are now hitting 53, 54. That's the young ones. The older ones are hitting 65. Well, that company is going through the floor right now. And it's because they didn't say, who does our customer need to be, and start to build for that customer or build a brand for the customer. That's not, people that are my stage of life or yours, Jay, we have memories, we have videos, we have films, we have things that were nostalgic about that brand. There's nothing nostalgic about that brand for this company. So you might have to decide who is the new customer. You're the one who taught me, Jay, I think, years ago, 25 years ago, when you and I were talking. I think you were the one who said, don't fall in love with your product, don't fall in love with your service, fall in love with your clients. Well, you might have to decide what clients to fall in love with in the current market we're going to. Who needs to be your client? What do they need? And then develop your products and services to meet them. So I think an entrepreneur today has to be more sophisticated. They got to start with, what business am I really in? What business do I need to be in, right? That's really where you got to go. Who are my clients today? Who do my clients need to be? And then it gets down to what is really going to meet their needs and blow them away and turn them into raving fan clients.
Up next, Tony's 5 tips all entrepreneurs need. I'm Paul Durante. Jay's the world's preeminent business growth expert. His fee, $50,000 a day, but you can join the Abraham Mastermind Alliance free. It's a dynamic organization of like-minded entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals from all over the world who have a passionate commitment to build a business that's preeminent and highly profitable. The Abraham Mastermind Alliance, totally free for fans of this show. Free downloads, free resources. All the info's at abraham.com.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me.
Have a lot of fun and make a lot of money. This is the Ultimate Entrepreneur with Jay Abraham.
I have a belief that most people have a delusional understanding of innovation. It can be technological, but it really means bringing more benefit, advantage, a better experience, a better connection, a better sense of being to really the client. You want to talk about that?
Well, absolutely. I think the example that I've seen you do over and over again with so many different companies, sometimes it's the smallest advantage that you're bringing to someone. It's not earth-shaking. It doesn't have to cost you, $1 billion or $10 million to make that change. It's really seeing what is the hole in the marketplace. What is it that people are really missing? What is it that they're really needing? I mean, I go back to some of the largest brands. Brands very often do not give the best price. Some of them do. You look around and say, well, Walmart will give you, or Target will give you the best price. But there are multiple brands, and when I'm in a live seminar, I like doing purses. I'll say, ladies, hold up your purses, and I'll go pick up 3 or 4 of these purses. These women begin to panic, and I say, tell me, why'd you buy this purse? And you'll hear different people with completely different needs. This woman's purse, she said, I said, how much did you pay for it? She'll say, I paid, $35. I got it at Target. And I say, why'd you buy it? She goes, well, because it's really small and it's easy, but I can still put a lot into it. It's got these side pockets, and it feels very, it's very, very kind of smart. And I said, ma'am, how do you perceive yourself? Do you perceive yourself to be a smart person? And you'll see her pause and smile, big, huge smile. Well, yeah, I'm a very smart person. How often are you buying things to be smart? She goes, all the time. Then you pick up this purse by a designer and you ask the girl, what'd you pay for this? And she says, $500. And saying, why'd you buy this purse? She goes, well, it's, I think it's really cool and it's hip and it's this and it's that. And ma'am, do you perceive yourself to be, this? She goes, no question. How much is filtered by that? It's all about cool and hip. You get the Louis Vuitton purse, it's all about having what nobody else has. It's a red purse. She got it in Paris, and it was the only red purse in the place, and it's $5,000, right? So people, I think, when they think about innovation, very often they think about in terms of, I have to have the best price, or I have to have a most incredible product or some new technology. You have to know what your client's psychological and emotional needs are. And I think the way to get that innovation, to get outside yourself, because we all start thinking the same way, I'll give you 5 quick things that entrepreneurs could use.
Great.
Go get yourself some new voices, because new voices will start new conversations, will create new innovation in your company. What I mean by that is I have one friend who's a multi-billionaire. He has dozens of companies. His focus every year, his number one focus, is to bring new voices to each of those. He tries to bring a new voice to the C-suite in each of the major companies. He top grades, and he brings somebody else in he thinks can stimulate things of that nature. And nothing ever gets old there. But I'll give you an example. I remember when IBM in the 90s was, looked like it might go under, and they brought in that new CEO, I'm blanking on his name, who was the gentleman that, they had the big press conference with, and asked him specifically at the time, can you turn IBM around? And he said, the question that we should be asking ourselves of whether we can turn IBM around is this: how many people in key points of leadership and decision-making are under the age of 40 here at IBM and live in Northern California? And the press, I'll never forget watching this thing, they were just confused. And one man said, what do you mean? He says, it's really simple. 95% of all innovation in the technology business is happening by people under the age of 40 up in Northern California. And I can tell you right now, we have no one in that place. So if I don't change that, we won't make it. That's the first thing that I'm going to go change. So he went to go get those new voices. Second thing you can do is you go get yourself some new questions. I always tell people questions are the answer. If you want to have new answers in your life, you've got to ask new questions. And so I met Bill Gates years ago, and I teach a seminar where I uncover, I think everybody has what we call a primary question, a question they ask more often than anything else in life. It's unconscious. It's tied deep in our unconscious. And I help people uncover what it is and helps them to discover why they focus on things the way they do, why they feel the way they do, because your focus determines how you feel. So mine, for example, is how can I make it better? I've been obsessed my entire life. How do I make the product better, the seminar better, the people better? Doesn't matter what it is. So I've got a lot of answers because I keep asking that question. Bill Gates' number one question that he's asked most of his life starting out in his youth is, how do I become the intelligence that runs all computers? He never had the question, how do I make the best software? How do I become the intelligence that runs all computers? So as a result, he became the wealthiest man in the world. Now, he's missed the boat, if you can, Bill Gates can miss the boat. He missed the boat on the web because he thought it was all about the intelligence of computers, and today it's the web. That's why Microsoft is no longer a leader, and Apple is, and Google is. So questions are the answer. Third thing, go get a new perspective. You want to innovate things, you got to get the perspective of your own client. So, I know that Nokia was the number one phone company, portable phone company in the world, cellular phone company in the world for many, many years. And, they're based in far north, where they got 20-hour darkness sometimes a year, in summertime 20-hour light, on the edge of the Adriatic Sea. They kept changing their phones, and they started losing their lead. And they changed their phones by, engineers putting more technology in. Like those of us old enough to remember VCRs. They used to have a new VCR each year. In the beginning, you buy them, and pretty soon you go, why the hell do I buy it? I can't figure out how to run this damn thing. Apple changed that. Well, what they did, the president of Nokia took all of his top engineers, and he sent them to go live for 6 months in King's Cross, Australia, in east of London, and in Venice, California, and said, go live there and meet customers who are hip, who are leaders in what people buy, and see what they want. And what they come back with? Pink telephone, pink, blue, purple, increased their sales 38% in the next 18 months. They didn't change any of their technology. That was the innovation. Sometimes it's pink. I'll give you another one. I'll give you a $1.65 billion example.
Okay.
If you take a look at almost everybody today uses YouTube. The question was, YouTube the first people to create a way for you to download video and to share it? And the answer is no. The first company to do it was Vimeo. Vimeo did it a year before YouTube. If you go to Vimeo and YouTube today, they look virtually identical. They did then. YouTube did not create some new technology. YouTube did not create any extraordinary visual difference. They weren't any faster to upload or download from. There was no difference between the two yet. Today, 1 million people go to Vimeo and 1 billion people go to YouTube.
Why?
$1.65 billion difference, because YouTube was bought for $1.65 billion, and Chad, two years later, got a chance to meet him. The difference was they put the word share 9 times on the site. And if you go to Vimeo today, it still only has 2 things to share. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but when you're asked 9 times, the likelihood of you sharing increases. Well, every share has a viral impact. That is a multiplied impact, which multiplies on the one before it. That's the only difference. Go there today and look at them. They're almost virtually identical, but one has grown geometrically because they asked more. So they asked a better question. They have a different perspective. Fourth and fifth, real fast to wrap it up for you. Fourth is find a new passion. If you want innovation, find something that people in your organization are passionate about. And fifth, try some experiments. And often they go together. Experiments are things you don't think it's going to work, but it's got a possibility of working. And from it working, there could be some interesting changes. If there's passion attached to those experiments, all good companies have a few experiments. The best example I could tell you is Twitter. Twitter was a experiment. It had nothing. There was no money behind it. It was guys partial time working on a different project. But he thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool to have people type 164 characters and know what they're doing? All my friends are doing anywhere all the time. Well, that's turned into a device that's not only worth billions of dollars, but has changed the way people deal with, regimes around the world. They're trying to break out of totalitarian environments controlling them. And Egypt and, it's happening in Syria and so forth. So this is the world we're in can change when we innovate. We innovate when we get new voices. We innovate when we ask new questions. We innovate when we get new perspectives. We innovate when we have some passions and we have some experiments that we try. And you got to know that you got to experiment a lot to find what works. But if you do it, you'll see some real change.
Up next, Tony speaks about the significance of social media for all entrepreneurs. I'm Paul Durante. Jay's nickname is the $9 billion man. That's the revenue his work has produced. He's the world's preeminent business growth expert. His fee's $50,000 a day. You can learn how he thinks just by joining the Abraham Mastermind Alliance. Totally free. Incredible. Learn from like-minded entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals from all over the world. They've all got a passionate commitment to build their business into something that's preeminent and highly profitable. The Abraham Mastermind Alliance. Free downloads, free resources. Just go to abraham.com.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
He's the $9 billion man.
It's your boy.
888-12345. The world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham.
1-800-88-12345. Talk to Jay, get his advice for free, be on this show. The Ultimate Entrepreneur Hotline by Dial 800. Get more calls, more sales, more response with a custom memorable number just like ours. Their customer service is beyond outstanding. Dial800.com.
I got two more questions and I'll let you go. The one is, you've introduced it two different times. Talk about the impact and how to maximize social media authentically.
I put a caveat first. Social media is a requirement, but social media is not going to make you a fortune. Social media is how you get people to maybe know of you, how to get them to like you. If they know you and like you and they engage with you, they're more likely to do business with you. But I know a lot of companies that have spent a fortune on social media, and when you get the net dollars they've seen come from it, it's quite small. Social media is the way you stay in touch with your client. Social media is a way for your clients, your raving fans, to introduce other people to you. But it's not a, let me go on social media and I want to watch my business go straight up the flagpole. It's just not a way. And I'm telling you, on Twitter, I'm in the top 200 most followed people out of 300 million people on Twitter. So, I can push a button and reach 2.2 million people in a second. It's incredibly useful. But you got to come to social media not thinking about marketing, but truly thinking about what can I do that can add value? How can I, as an expert in the field, bring something of value that also fits 164 characters? So that's got to be something where it's a link, it's education, it's information, it's humor. And in social media, for it to be authentic, you have to decide in advance, what is your voice? You can't have other people do it. You need to have, in your company, there needs to be a voice, and it needs to be the voice of the company. Now, in some companies, the entrepreneur is that voice. In some companies, you have somebody else that does that. But you have to say, is our voice serious? Is our voice playful? Is our voice inspiring? What is in our voice? And you have to make sure it's consistent, because people come to that location. They come to hear you in that social media, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case may be. Nimble, they're reading your blogs. They're coming there for a point of view. And you have to decide what point of view you have. If you're all over the place, no one's going to stay with you, and it's not going to be authentic. Now, in my case, I do all my own Twitters. On Facebook, I do Facebook, or I have my team do it. And if it's from my team, it says from my team. And I make sure, because I don't want anybody else trying to do that voice. My voice is about inspiring. My voice is a little bit in your face. My voice is playful. My voice is intense. My voice is passionate. And any time you go there, it's pretty easy to see it's really Tony. You have a limited amount of space here. It's really about how can you engage people. Engagement creates a deeper relationship. A deeper relationship will lead to doing business with you if you're adding enough value.
Great answer. Well, last question. It's a biggie. You and I both don't want to be someone's intellectual entertainment. We want to move people to action. What's the single best action step people listening, no matter what part of the spectrum they're on, can take right now to really go forward?
That's a great question. I think you should figure out what's keeping you from taking the action step, because it's a different action step for everybody. There isn't one single action step. If I was going to grossly generalize, I'd say whether you're president of the Fortune 500 company or you're starting your business, the most important questions are, what business am I in? What business do I need to be in? Who are my clients? Who do my clients need to be? That's the first one. I think the second one you got to be clear about is, why am I in this business? What is the reasons? Because reasons come first, answers come second. If I got strong enough reasons, I get myself to do anything. But if I don't know why, since I want to make $1 billion, I want to make $1 million, why? If you don't get a strong enough why, you're not going to get to take action. If it's, look, I want to do this for my family, I want to buy my mom a house, I want on the beach, you got to find what your reasons why are, or reactivate those reasons if you're not taking action. Thirdly, you got to know who are you, because not all entrepreneurs are the same. Some entrepreneurs are more skilled artists. They have tremendous skill. They're able to negotiate or sell or build software or design clothes. But that isn't in itself enough to be running the whole business. You need someone who's going to be a manager and a leader in that business. You need an entrepreneur who's going to take risks and be happy about it. So who are you and who do you need is my third question. Fourth one is, where are you? If you want to know the single most important thing, I can't answer it in this short time, but it's, where are you in the life cycle of a business? Because every stage in a human being's life brings new opportunities and new problems, whether you're a toddler, whether you're a teenager, whether you're a young adult, whether you're in midlife, whether you're aging. Businesses go through those life cycles as well. Every single one of those life cycles carries with it certain opportunities and certain challenges, and you have to know where you are. Otherwise, you could do the right thing at the wrong time, and you don't get rewarded. You got to do the right thing at the right time. And then finally, once you know where you are, you know what's next. The most important thing is what's next. But I'll tell you this to wrap it up. There are really, when people aren't acting, you got to say what's missing. It's one of three things, and everyone listening can decide which of these three is missing. It could be more than one of these three, but at least one is missing. Either they're in a situation where they're missing what they think are the strategies necessary to succeed. The problem with missing strategies is, even if you have them, you're not going to act on them unless you have a great story, meaning a set of beliefs. If you ask, why do most people in this country, 65% of the U.S. is overweight, 35% is obese? It's insane. Is it a lack of strategy that's getting you there really? No, because you can get the strategy. It's on every street corner. It's on the web. It's on books. There's coaches. There's trainers. You have to screw up not to know a million ways to lose weight. If you have to screw up not to find a million ways to improve your business, they're available everywhere. You offer them, Jay. I offer them. They're on the web. They're in books. They're in coaches. They're everywhere. It's not usually a strategy problem. It's a story problem. The story in the weight loss is, I'm big boned. I've tried everything. Once you start saying, I've tried everything, I'm big boned, no, that story is what's keeping you from the strategy. You got to look at what your story is. What's the story that's limiting you or your organization? Oh, the economy is horrible. You look at the Fortune 500, and you'll find 65% of them were started in a recession or a depression. That's a fact. Whether it's Disney or Apple or Microsoft, these are companies that started in depressions and recessions. That's why they dominate. So it's a great time for somebody who doesn't buy that story. But ultimately, the resource that will change people, you say, what's the one thing they can go do? They want to get themselves to take new actions, new results. They got to learn to change their state. It's strategy, story, state, and the real order is you've got to change your state first. Your state is your mental, emotional, physical experience. When you're in a lousy state, everything looks impossible. When you put yourself in a powerful state, when you get yourself in a place where you're ready to walk through walls, you will. And the way to change your state is not with your mind. You can sit there and rationalize and evaluate and think all you want. The most powerful way to change state is a radical change in the way you use your physical body. Go push yourself and go on a run. Put some music in your ears and push yourself till your heart feels like it's going to burst out of you and get that blood pumping. Or go, you haven't worked out forever, go lift weights where you're pushing way beyond, not a comfort workout, where you're pushing beyond your comfort zone. And what will happen is, fear is physical, and so is strength, so is determination, so is passion. When you start to move your body in ways that are demanding and move your body in ways in which you push yourself, the blood pumps through every part of your body, and your physiological strength will translate to emotional strength. Your biochemistry shifts, and you'll find yourself doing the things you need to do and you want to do, as opposed to asking somebody, gosh, what should I do next? Because no matter what you and I tell somebody, they can listen to this entire conversation. You can give them a million tools and strategies. If they got a lousy story and a lousy state, nothing's going to happen. They're going to come up with, well, that's for those guys, or they're lucky, or they're, they believe, but it's not true. They're going to come up with something that stops them. You've got to change your state, change your story, and you'll find the strategies to take your business to the next level.
Great conclusion. Tony, you're a great friend. Thank you. My regards to Sage.
Thank you, brother.
Tony Robbins. He's advised leaders around the world. His seminars, his work, legendary. TonyRobbins.com. See him live. Read his books, get his audio programs. Tony Robbins helps you to become an ultimate entrepreneur. And to be on this show, 1-800-88-12345. It's the Ultimate Entrepreneur Hotline, powered by Dial 800. Get more calls, more sales, more response with a custom memorable number just like ours. Dial800.com. Every show is designed to help you grow your business exponentially. We help you do that with the Abraham Mastermind Alliance, totally free. It's a dynamic organization, like-minded entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals from all over the world. They have a passionate commitment to build their business into something that's preeminent, preemptive, and highly profitable. The Abraham Mastermind Alliance. As a fan of this show, free, gratis. Free downloads, free resources. All the info's at abraham.com. I'm Paul Durante.
This has been a presentation of Abraham Media, the world's preeminent business growth expert, Jay Abraham.
He's a very, very special man. He's brilliant.
Jay Abraham has an idea a minute mind. He is a marketing guru that never stops. He's a cash flow, an advertising, and a sales generating machine.
If there was a Hall of Fame or a Super Bowl of business or marketing, this man would be there.
In fact, Jay was the person who helped a founder of Federal Express triple his business with one great idea.
The $9 billion man, Jay Abraham. Join the Abraham Mastermind Alliance today at abraham.com.